Hello, friends. Glad you're here, honestly. Because let me tell you, if you'd seen what I saw on my gate that morning, you'd probably wonder if you'd wandered into some kind of sitcom. Or maybe a bad dream. But no, it was real. Picture me, standing there on my back steps, still holding my coffee mug, ugly as sin, but it's tradition, about to enjoy the mountain air, and bam. Neon orange sign, zip-tied right across my gate. Notice of eviction. Occupant removed. Property now under the authority of the Homeowners Association. You know what I mean? That moment when you're not sure if you're supposed to laugh or go full emergency mode. So there I am, 3 days back from work in town, dog snoring in the truck, lumber still stacked in the bed, staring at this sign that's just absurd. It had all the trappings of something official, bold letters, legal mumbo-jumbo, a statute number that looked like someone spilled alphabet soup. And the fine print? Claimed I'd refused compliance, hadn't paid their mythical assessments, and so now, I'd been evicted and any access would be trespass. Oh, and if I called the cops, the majority has spoken. Like the universe had shifted and I'd missed the memo. I'm telling you, my mountain place existed before the idea of an HOA ever flickered into being. Deed recorded by a guy who used blue fountain pen and a surveyor who drew tiny trees on the map. No covenants, no board. Nothing. I bought it from Elias, an old-school gentleman with binders and carbon paper and the kind of integrity you can feel in your handshake. He always said, the land keeps people honest if you listen to it. So, yeah, that orange sign screamed dishonesty. Turns out, there were more signs, one on my milepost, another zip-tied to my cedar fence, all with that same cheap blue twine from Down Valley Hardware. And someone had walked my whole driveway to do it. Timber, my dog, was giving me that look. Are we going to unload the truck or what? So I took the signs down, tucked them into my jacket, and started walking the fence line, just like I always do. But you know, things were off. Chain on the side gate had been flipped, fresh boot prints by the porch light on when I know I left it off. Inside, a neat stack of mail, 2 glossy postcards with a smiling couple. Welcome to the association. My address, crooked. Rules about blinds. No non-conforming wildlife attractants, and a reminder not to keep chickens or goats. As if my closest neighbor wasn't the hawk that hovers over the ridge. Then my phone buzzes. Neighbor Jessa, who lives down the hill, texting me in all caps. Are you seeing this? They put up signs on my gate too. I'm so mad. They took my trash can. And then, she calls. Her voice, so level it's a warning sign. Turns out, the HOA folks had told her child they didn't live here anymore. Evicted by the community board, which is just not how any of this works. The association was this developer invention for Phase 2, and now they were trying to rope us in. The president, Brinley, clipboard, name on his hat, whole 9 yards, had been at it for months. Jessa says, call the sheriff. So I do. And of course, dispatch says, sounds civil. I get it, but it makes you wish they handed out medals for patience. I promised Jessa I'd check with the county, and with Elias, who knows every foot of this land's history. Walked through the cabin, took photos, measured footprints, pure stubbornness. Found a weird smell, cologne trying and failing to be cedar. Photographed everything, then headed to town with the orange sign stacked like failed Halloween props. At the county clerk's office, Doreen, her patience deserves sainthood, takes one look at the sign, shakes her head, and says, they can't do that. Sit tight. Next thing, she's back with Gordon from county council. No last name. Which, respect. He flips through my file, shrugs, and says, you've got a grandfathered parcel. No HOA, no covenants, no assessments. No one can throw you out without a court order. And it wouldn't be them anyway. They're bluffing. He gives me a list. Take photos, call the sheriff, send a cease and desist. If they mess with your mail, that's federal. If they talk about you being evicted, that's defamation. And, he says, talk to your neighbors. There's power in numbers. I thanked him in a way that would have made my granddad proud. Eyes prickly, voice steady. Driving back, a white SUV with a magnetic sign starts tailing me. Sure enough, Brinley steps out at my mailbox, all beaming confidence, ready to welcome me to the community. When I point out the signs are illegal, he gets that tone, like he's explaining vegetables to a toddler. It's for property values. The association voted. And I say, bylaws don't run with land. You need covenants, and I don't have any. If you touch my gate again, I'll call the sheriff. And removing mail is a federal crime. He blinks, not used to people pushing back. Starts listing committees and dog complaints. Timber snorts like he's been called lazy. Brinley tries one last time. Maybe you'd feel better if you met the board tonight. Light refreshments, a safety presentation. I cut him off. If you show up at my place, you'll meet the sheriff and my attorney. He tries to save face, mutters about the association isn't going away. I wish you could have seen the way he stomped back to his car, dignity leaking out like air from a tire. I swung by Jess's. Her daughter Mira was on the porch, chalking a perfect elk, apparently told her art was lowering property values. I told her the truth. Her art raises them. Jessa had all the paperwork laid out, us and them, plus a trifold brochure with the same stock photo. Her bees are her pride, and she's fierce about them. We compared notes, laughed at the threats, and decided, certified letters, copies to the county, and tonight, we'd attend their meeting, phones recording. Also, I checked with Elias. The man knows more about stubbornness than the rest of us combined. Evening came. I pulled on my most not-from-the-mountain jacket and headed to the new clubhouse, a repurposed barn with string lights and the unmistakable scent of city ambition. Inside, sedans, not trucks. Folks in name tags, sandwiches with gluten-free labels, pastel slideshows, like a TED Talk about grass. Brinley at the mic, all our mountain lifestyle, projecting authority. On a map, my road had been colored in, claimed. When I finally got the floor, I asked, what gives you authority over parcels recorded before your HOA? He gives me the board routine. We voted, the bylaws are amended. And I said, bylaws are internal. You need actual, recorded covenants, and the county says you don't have them. So when you say I'm evicted, you're lying, and when you put signs on my gate, you're trespassing. Next stop, my attorney. The room shifted. A realtor wanted to know why they'd paid for amenities. Another neighbor clutched a brochure like a magic shield. Brinley tried to steamroll. We're not letting holdouts ruin the vision. And right then, it hit me. It's not about land. It's about control. Dress it up any way you want, but some folks crave power like air. Afterward, I called Elias. He'd used the sign they'd posted as kindling. In the green clip binder, he said, there's a letter from the original developer's lawyer. Take it. Use it. That's mountain wisdom. The next morning, new signs appeared, fresh zip ties, a note with aggressive cursive. Removing official notices is a violation of the fine schedule. I couldn't help but laugh. It's like being asked to pay a toll for walking in your own pasture. Set up my old trail cam. Caught floral blazer lady and the man with the tablet on camera, bright and early. Sent it to the county and sheriff with a note. Continued trespass. Ready to file for an injunction. Jessa texted that she'd caught them at Elias's, told them to buzz off, which nearly scared her bees. Later, the sheriff himself, Deputy Quinn, world-wearied, came out, holding the orange sign like toxic waste. Can't arrest for this, but I can tell them to stop, take a report, stand by your gate if you want. I wanted the word trespass on file. He admired my trail cam handiwork, gave me a case number, and said, don't let them wear you down. But man, did they try. Notices for unapproved plants, wild lupin, courtesy of Mother Nature, invoices for assessments I didn't owe, threats of liens that didn't exist. I answered each one. Not a member. You have no authority. Cease and desist. Copied the county, consumer protection, started a list of folks secretly regretting joining up. Meanwhile, Elias was getting targeted for property fitness, his tractor and woodpile photographed and called blight in the newsletter. Naomi, another neighbor, had her footbridge washed out when their resurfacing job sent rainwater the wrong way. They tried to make her fix it. She brought county stormwater guidelines to the next meeting and laid out the facts, her voice like a scalpel. Sometimes all it takes is one person with receipts. Honestly, I wondered if I should have hired an attorney sooner. But I wanted to draw my own line, neighbor to neighbor, before lawyering up. Margot, my attorney, said, document everything, don't respond to anything except legal demands, and stay boringly reasonable. I did, trail cams, laminated signs, certified mail, every letter sent same day, every week. Then, they sent a courier with immediate area adjudication policy by contiguity and access. I was hereby adopted by the association. Laughed so hard I had to sit down. Time to go on offense. Filed for a declaratory judgment, teamed up with Naomi on a hydrology report, organized a potluck at Elias's, and started packaging up their best quotes for consumer protection and the licensing board. The county took down their fake community rules sign from the public right-of-way. Finally, the hearing. Margot laid out deeds, trespass, false claims, that internal memo about gradually absorbing legacy parcels. Judge asked twice for proof. None existed. Ruling, declaratory relief, injunction against entry and misrepresentation. You can't bind land by just declaring it. Paper tiger, meet the shredder. Consumer protection ordered corrections, refunds for misled buyers, and the licensing board launched an ethics case. The absorb via signage plan became a cautionary tale. Even Brinley finally caved, meeting on neutral ground, signed a directive. No further contact except through counsel. Now, calmer neighbors, honest policies, Naomi's strawberries sweeter with fixed drainage. Jess's bees officially not livestock. My museum has 2 framed papers, the lie and the correction. Orange notices fill my kindling drawer. Winter brought postcards from new board members, wooden pine cone for the museum. In spring, we cheered when the footbridge held through the melt. The crane came back. Nobody mentioned bylaws. Maybe that's the real lesson. You can't redraw the land with paper, no matter how official it looks. Neighbors aren't obstacles. They're a chorus. Quiet came back. Not silence, but honest sound. Air still smells like pine and water. I hang my keys, grab my battered mug, breathe deep. That's my story. Now it's your turn. Tell me, what's your take on all this? Is it justice, stubbornness, or just another chapter in the book of neighbors? Let me know below.